people. You know, it's a really strange time to be living at the moment. You've got people walking around like zombies with face masks on, and everyone's scared shitless of each other. Sneeze, and everyone around you acts like you've just killed their pet rabbit. I mean, we've even got people fighting over toilet paper. The problem is, people like to feel certain about things. We like to control as much of our life as we possibly can. From the time we wake up, to how we look, to our careers and the direction we take our lives in. But sometimes, the world decides to take certainty and smash it out of court. And it's these uncertain times that can be scary. I mean, toilet roll? Really?
Across the world, the coronavirus pandemic has now killed more than 10,000 people. And in Iran,
jobs are being lost, the stock market is falling to pieces, travel plans are being cancelled, and entire countries are going into lockdown. Even for someone who considers themselves a fairly laid-back character, I'm getting a little bit anxious about the consequences that this is going to have on our immediate future. This situation begs the question, how do we avoid losing our minds with worry? How do we avoid getting into the situation where we're about to have a bare-knuckle fight with a 65-year-old woman for the last roll of toilet paper at the supermarket? Be proactive. This is the first habit in Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He explains that there is a gap between stimulus and response, meaning that whatever external event happens, we have the choice of how we respond before we actually do respond. It's in this gap that we choose the meaning of the event and the action that we take moving forward. What Stephen means by be proactive is using this gap between stimulus and response as wisely as we can. He said, we have a natural need to wield influence on the world around us, so we must not spend our time just reacting to external events and circumstances. We must take charge and assume responsibility for our own lives. So clearly, the stimulus in this case is the unfortunate chain of events that the coronavirus is creating. Tournaments cancelled, jobs lost, money down the drain, and we can't leave the house. And the usual reactive response is worry, panic, and people losing their minds, sitting at home watching the news 10 hours a day, focusing on all the things they can't do, the places they can't go, and the money they can't earn. But what we need to do in these unprecedented times is to be proactive and use the gap wisely. We need to give the unfolding events an empowering meaning so that we can take positive action and avoid worrying and fighting grandmas. If we're proactive and use this gap wisely, we can focus on all the things that we can do and we begin to see the opportunities and not the problems. For me, I'm seeing it as time to do things that I normally wouldn't have time for if I was living a normal life. I made a can-do list as one of the lockdown activities that soccer tennis are running at the moment. My list includes, I can work out each day, even if I'm confined to a small space. I can use the time to practice mindfulness more often by using the Headspace app. I can work on my side hustle projects. This video is one of them. I can use the extra time to learn a new skill at home. I can use the time to clarify my vision for my tennis. I can improve my flexibility. And I can devour a few self-help books. A book that I read recently that I'd highly recommend is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. This book sets straight the myth about actual income and teaches you about the value of one of our most precious commodities, time. It gets you thinking outside the box in new creative ways, and it takes you step by step to take ideas and make them into a reality, ultimately creating a second income with very little time. I'd say it's the perfect book to get stuck into given the impending coronavirus doom, and who knows, maybe by the time the coronavirus passes, you'll have a 6-figure side hustle and be able to quit your current miserable job. I'll leave the link to purchase the book in the description below. I'd honestly recommend it, it's f***ing awesome. Anyway, back to the key message of this video. Don't let the external events that are happening around us determine our response. Use the gap wisely and focus on all the things that you can do and the opportunities that this time will provide us. And don't be the who clears out all the canned food and toilet paper. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, get stuck into a few good books, and I'll see you next time. Peace.